United States passport holders have long traveled throughout most of the world without having to worry about visa applications. American travelers currently have visa-free access to 184 destinations worldwide, according to this year's Henley Passport Index, which ranked the U.S. passport as the 8th most powerful in the world. But that's set to change next year, as the European Union prepares new travel document requirements for American tourists. The new regulations are called the European Travel Information and Authorization System.
When she finished high school, Helen Kinchin got what was supposed to be a temporary job, after which she planned to go to college. That's when Kinchin, now 36, found a way to finally resume her education in a way that was fast, simple and comparatively cheap. She enrolled at a university where students can start at any of 6 times during the year, take just one subject at a time for the same 4 hours every weekday, and end up with a bachelor's degree in 3 years. There are no electives, just about the only choice is whether to go.
Thousands of indigenous children were taught to forget. Separated from their families, these children were compelled to forget their languages, their identities, and their cultures. Through separation and forgetting, settler governments and teachers believed they were not only helping indigenous children, but the nation itself. Canada would make progress, settlers hoped, if indigenous children could just be made more like white people. When the burial sites at Kamloops were identified in May 2021 using ground
Many of us have dreamed of going into space. Perhaps you've imagined what it would be like to visit the International Space Station or even explore new worlds. But traveling in space brings a whole set of challenges and hostile environments, so it's vital to recreate the conditions on Earth that have allowed life to evolve and flourish. Spacesuits allow astronauts to venture outside their spacecraft for short periods, by providing the air, water, pressure, and physical protection needed for a human to survive. But what would happen without one of these advanced suits?
The day the Chicxulub asteroid slammed into what is now a small town on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula that bears its name is the most consequential moment in the history of life on our planet. In a prehistoric nanosecond, the reign of the dinosaurs ended and the rise of mammals began. Not only did the impact exterminate every dinosaur save for a few ground-nesting birds, it killed every land mammal larger than a raccoon. In a flash. The impact that wiped out the dinosaurs would probably have killed you.
While Utah's ban is still in effect, the efforts to review and restrict the Bible elsewhere have largely resulted in the material returning to library and classroom shelves after review by the respective supervisory agencies. Nevertheless, the broader point being made is that far-reaching efforts to restrict reading materials in the service of limiting educational inquiry at large will inevitably sweep up ideas and materials that you actually agree with. Conservatives have pushed back on the effort to ban the Bible, accusing it of trying to minimize the real concerns of parents.
The ongoing efforts in deep red states like Florida and Texas to ban books deemed culturally or sexually inappropriate for their depictions of racial injustices and content have spawned a surprising form of retaliation. Parents and community members alarmed by what they see as right-wing censorship have begun targeting the Bible for removal from schools and libraries, arguing the book's graphic depictions of sex and violence make it just as subversive and inappropriate as the materials being banned under conservative.
The boycott's success was stunning. Bud Light had been so popular, for so long, that its sudden decline seemed unthinkable. The truth, however, is that its dominance was never as secure as it appeared, and the boycott merely accelerated an existing trend. America no longer shares a united taste for beer. Beer faces ever stiffer competition from cocktails, wine, spirits, and seltzers. Grabbing a light lager is hardly today's drinking default. Even when it is, no law of nature requires Americans to prefer Bud Light over similarly bland competitors.
Devoted users of ChatGPT, the chatbot that has become the mainstream face of consumer AI, have spent the past couple of months trying to solve a frustrating mystery. Is their trusty AI companion their all-purpose assistant, their accomplice in cheating, their secret coworker, their patient tutor becoming less intelligent? Other users and commentators have pushed back, suggesting that this was simply a case of diminishing novelty or of people underestimating their own capacity for adjustment. Comprehensively testing a product like ChatGPT is difficult.
Most applicants will be granted travel authorization within an hour, but if further checks are required, the process could take up to 96 hours. The application cost is required for all travelers regardless of their age. Once approved, this authorization is valid for multiple entries over the course of 3 years, or until the traveler's passport expires. Although many Americans were apprehensive about waiting on another travel document when the program was first announced, as more details about ESHAs become available, many travelers are expressing relief.